because at this point, we will call back our speakers to join me here in our studio, here in our webinar. Miss Notain, Mr. Kezang, and Mr. Rex Villanueva. But wait, there's more. We have two additional resource persons who can share their thoughts and interact with our live audiences. Joining us is Mr. Randa Ginige, a senior lecturer at LIBT and head of learning development at Beta Park. And of course, the man himself of LIBT, who was patient and generous to answer our questions in the previous webinar. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Cesare Paterani, the CEO of LIBT. Welcome, gentlemen and lady. Okay, so there you go. Thank you for that. Let's now go to our first question. And our first question is for Miss No. This is coming from Miss Thelma Cajolo. You mentioned as a takeaway point the digital transformation that at the core of the current work evolution. How does this affect the relationship between managerial positions and workers working at home? And how can those in managerial positions ensure that they adapt to this transformation? Ms. No?
Thank you for such excellent question. I would reiterate the importance of efficiency and productivity. Right, that's what we want, and how it happens, we're not in control because of the different circumstances. So I would say the most important component to this is creating a psychologically safe environment where your subordinates feel safe and comfortable to share their ideas and voice their concerns. Because not everyone is comfortable in adapting to the changes or transformation. So if you're able to ask for help, instead of feeling inadequate, incapable, so you as a manager will be able to support, help, and inspire your workers. So managers as leaders need to be role models. And to be honest, we don't know everything too, right? So let them know so that we can create a culture of learning. It's okay to make mistakes, as long as we're learning. And continue to instill the importance of learning and promote. And this second point is very important. Promote social connection, because working from home can be quite isolating. So small things like greeting at the beginning and just asking after each other. I know it's a small talk, but that's how we, as social being, have energy, and that's how we get recharged. Promote when you promote this social connection, they can help each other out too. You're not the only one providing help and support, right? Like when you create a support network, they will be able to reach out to each other as well. Thirdly, provide them with some tools and trainings and that they might need. Professional development on how to use certain tools, on productivity, on time management, and that's how you inspire them to continue to learn and create this learning organization. Right, and as the Vice Governor Bakuro said, it's so important now for all of us to be disciplined, right? The ability and willingness for all of us to manage the time and the learning, because not everybody, because you don't have your boss, telling you what to do at work. You have to manage your time. You have to manage your learning. So if you are a role model and you show them that you are also learning along with them, and that you are there to support them and encourage that safe community of learners, I think as individual, as team, and as the whole organization, you'll be able to move forward regardless of the challenges. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Nover. Let's move on to another question, and let's see if we can get a new question here for one of our panelists. Here is from Miss Erica Rubio. Hello, po. Good day. Want to ask, in the midst of a pandemic, a lot of business establishments are partially disclosed and downsizing due to COVID-19. What would you advise to the small and medium enterprise and to those aspiring entrepreneurs to pursue, even in this situation we're facing? Thank you po in advance. Now, perhaps we can ask first, Mr. Kazang, could you give us some of your take on this? She's asking, amidst the pandemic, what are we expecting, the small and medium enterprises to do? What could be the best course of action for them? Your thoughts on this, Mr. Kazang?
Thank you. Thank you. A very good question again. I hope the sound is okay.
Yes, we clearly hear you. Yes.
Great. The pandemic has really hit hard the small and medium enterprises, micro, small and medium enterprises, especially in the tourism sector, the travel industry, and of course the hospitality as part of the overall tourism industry. And many other businesses, even in Bhutan, have shut down. What the government and civil society and the businesses themselves are doing is to take stock of the opportunity to actually relook at the business strategy. How much are you using technology in your processes? We have also seen technology companies are the ones who are doing very well and deploying the right technology tools. Of course, you need to train your people. You already have the processes. Putting all of those will provide you, I guess, the bridge to a proper, transition as you come out of COVID. A lot of livelihoods have been lost. A lot of businesses have closed, but it is an opportunity to upskill, reskill yourself, and also look into some of the government programs that are there to help you through this very difficult times. And again, I think thanks are also due to the frontliners who are there, who are keeping us safe despite the challenges that the invisible enemy is posing to all of us across the world. I'm not sure if I'm doing justice to the question. Thank you.
Well, thank you for those points, Kazang. Definitely something to think about for those who are in the small and medium enterprises. I'd like to hear some thoughts also from Mr. Eranda, as head of the learning and development at Beta Park. What were your thoughts about this particular question? What can we say to those who are aspiring through this pandemic if they are starting up, Mr. Eranda?
Sure. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. I think that's a
Yes.
fantastic question, Erica. Well, I think if you really think about some of the most successful and some of the largest organizations in the world, starting from Microsoft, Apple, and so on, a lot of them started during a recession time. Either a global recession or a US recession. So as weird as it may sound, a lot of successful entrepreneurs actually started their enterprises during tough times like these. And as you can see, a lot of people who have been working for large organizations are realizing that maybe there are more opportunities and more ways of fulfilling your life's aspirations and ambitions rather than working for organizations. And at the same time, when large organizations, big players, sort of downsize, that creates small pockets of opportunities in the market. So for entrepreneurs, it's all about grabbing a part of that market, right? Grabbing a small portion of the market. So it's actually a great time to actually test the market, test maybe one of your new ideas, products, services. But the point is, a lot of people complain that okay, where can I find the resources? Where can I find when I myself don't have a secure job, how can I find maybe capital and other resources to start my own enterprise? But that's not how a lot of sort of successful entrepreneurs think when they are starting. They start with whatever they have, with the least amount of resources they have. They start lean, they start agile, they take a minimum viable product to the market, whatever that may be. It can be a new ice cream flavor, whatever, right? You just make whatever you can, and you take it to the market, you test it with the market, and quickly improve, and then sort of jump the curves, as we say in the entrepreneurial world. So it's as much as it is a difficult time, as my good friend Kezang mentioned. It's also a time of opportunity for entrepreneurs, especially the ones with the spirit. If you really want to make it happen, if you really want to do it, then now is a great time.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. That was a very, of course, bubblegum ice cream. You can start off with something like that, or something much more simple, and go lean. That's a very good point. Thank you so much, Mr. Aranda. So let's go on with another question here, and this time this is for Mr. Rex Villanueva from Ms. Jesh Salvatierra. With the number of regular meetings that the Filipino Association is hosting, how did this pandemic affect you? And what updated practices do you employ now to adapt to the current COVID challenges? Mr. Villanueva? Okay, can we unmute Mr. Villanueva? Hang on. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for that question, Ms. Jess Salvatierra. So right now we are facing the pandemic, and for us, like ordinary citizens, Filipinos, we're very surprised with this event. We cannot control this. Nobody has prepared for this. But it's very good that the technology right now is very helpful compared if, for example, this pandemic happened maybe before 2000, year 2000. We'll be having very much difficulties regarding communications. Right now, the technology is very helpful. We can actually we have the different groups, like in our WhatsApp, also the our social media. So we are having these advantages, and then we are trying to benefit from this. So right now, for us, for our community to be always be in touch, we are making sure that everybody receives all the information. For example, right now we are asked by the Philippine Embassy to have some of the contributions to help our kababayans here in Brunei that are greatly affected with the pandemic, with regards to their income, with their work, so that we can collect financial support to them through the Philippine Embassy. And then the technology, as I mentioned, is very helpful. And also, like online banking. You don't need to go to the bank to deposit your contribution. You can just go online. And also, this is our time also that to analyze also on how, like in the war, it's a like preparation. Now is the time that you can prepare all your records. Now is the time to have some sort of brainstorming analysis on how to improve our organization here. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Villanueva. Let's go to a question now from Mr. Jethro Maliag. Again, question for Sir Iranda. As a senior lecturer at Libt, is there a direct effect to the learners whether they open or close their camera? Mr. Iranda.
Hi, Jethro. That's a very interesting question. As a lecturer, is there a direct effect to the learners whether they open or close their camera? So it has two sides to this, and I think Mr. Sesiri will also have something interesting to say about this. As a lecturer, sometimes it is a little weird to teach to a group of students when you can't see their faces. At least, I mean, we like to sort of, as trainers, we always want to interact with the participants. And at Libt, we try really hard to do that as much as possible. And it depends on the type of program as well. I mean, if it is a more sort of level 7 program, then the interaction is less. But if it is more towards level 4, 5 and entrepreneurial kind of programs, then we have more interaction. It is a little difficult from a lecturer's point of view not to actually see the participant's face, the student's face. But I think the question is also, if you can get the question on the screen kindly. I think the question is about how would that affect the student? Is there a direct effect to the learners whether they open or close their camera? I don't think there's a very big effect because the learner will always see the lecturer, the trainer will always be visible. So the learner is receiving whatever is being delivered. So from a learner's point of view, I don't think that's a very big problem. I think it's more of a problem for the trainers to have this understanding that learners cannot switch on the cameras all the time, and sort of have that balance and understanding. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Mr. Sesiri might have something else to add to this.
Yes, Mr. Aranda, thank you very much. Yes, Cesare, I think we had a little conversation about cameras the other day. Would you like to give your thoughts on this, on how it will affect the learners, and of course the point of Mr. Aranda, how it affects also those who are teaching? Go ahead, Cesare.
Absolutely. I think it affects the lecturers more than the students, in my opinion, and because people learn differently, right? And some of them are actually comfortable not having the camera on. So if you are comfortable not having the camera on, then obviously it should be that way, right? But the interesting conversation is that we know 5G is coming out. 5G, for those who don't know, it's a low latency, high-speed internet technology. And then around that, a lot of interesting things are going to happen. And so currently at the moment, our team is basically working on various different virtual VR, virtual reality delivery models, meaning that you will probably be able to have a very similar experience you would have in a regular classroom. And then, Apple is working on what they call Apple Glass, which is a mixed reality environment where you have the glass and you're able to sort of engage with the actual reality in some form. So we are working on a lot of these different delivery models in line with these new technologies that are coming out. So when they come out, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see.
Yes, thank you, Cesar. That would be interesting if you had that interaction through Apple Glasses or some form of 3D or virtual reality classroom. Thank you so much for that point of view. We'll look forward to seeing more development in that. Now, Miss Jelly Fernandez was asking, good afternoon. I just want to ask Sir Rex, how do you help those who lost their jobs in Brunei? Mr. Rex?
This is a very hard question to answer because we are not in the position to give jobs back to the people who are affected with this pandemic. The only thing that we can help those people is to, if they are really affected, they have to inform us, and then we can just uh, coordinate with the Philippine Embassy on how they will being helped by this office. Because as Filipino Association member or officers, we are only we are very limited with this kind of help that we can extend to those people.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Rex. Learning is one way that we can develop ourselves and then find new jobs, as Ms. Nall mentioned earlier. With regards to digital transformation, maybe we'd like to ask Cesare to add a few more points into this discussion, Cesare.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the technical issue earlier. So when it comes to digital transformation, we're basically talking about three different pillars: people, process, and technology. And what we have seen working with various different companies over the years is that anybody who starts, when you hear the word digital transformation, you think about technology immediately, right? And what we have seen though is that anybody who starts a digital transformation journey and you make technology the number one priority, that whole thing fails. People are number one. People are the key. So you really have to ensure that people are ready, irrespective of what technology. I mean, you can have rocket science technologies built in, but if people are not ready, that is going to fail. And that is number one thing to I think understand. And then secondly, you guys as leaders, some of you who are playing leadership roles, it is extremely important to ensure that you engage with your employees all the time, because you don't really, this is sort of a hybrid model, right? So you don't really have this day-to-day engagement like you used to during the pre-COVID situation. So what happens is, sort of sometimes isolation is a serious problem, and especially in bigger cities like Manila or Bangkok, larger part of the population are basically living in apartments, which is very confined space. So that adds another layer into this psychological aspect of the whole thing. So now, for example, at LIBT, I mean, I basically take quite a bit of time to basically talk to a lot of these guys one-on-one. And I try to do that as much as I can, actually. Because everybody's working from different locations and restricted movements and whatnot. So it is extremely important to understand that you as a leader, you have to engage with them, and you have to talk to them, and you have to call them up and say like, hey, how you doing? It shouldn't be just all about work. You should talk to them about their personal lives and the struggles that they're dealing with. And that is number one, that is a key thing as a leader, I believe. And then provided that you have set up tools that are collaborative. For example, one of the most simple examples that I can give you is Slack. So if you implement tools that can collaborate irrespective of where you are, then the whole thing in terms of engaging with them and monitoring becomes much easier as well. Because the question kind of talked about how do you monitor employees that are working remotely. So yeah, I mean, those were the points that I wanted to add earlier. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cesare. Yes, there are indeed fine points. Let's see if we have a couple of questions more. One here from Hiner Odanga. Anyone from the panel may answer. With the pandemic and with the online learning delivery made, which delivery mode, which appears to have no difference no matter what school you are enrolled in. Private schools, with their huge tuition and other fees, seem to be at a disadvantage compared to state colleges and universities with their almost zero payment fees. What strategies could the private schools use in order to turn this apparent disadvantage into their advantage? Okay, so maybe let's ask somebody from the panel who may answer this question. Can we, maybe ask from
Let me,
Cesare?
yeah, let me take that on. So a lot of the now there are state universities and colleges all across the globe, I think, and in the US's case, it's slightly different. Most of them are, even the state universities, you basically have to pay in the US. Now, the state system runs differently, right? It is funded by the government, and there's a certain budget allocation. Whereas, then it is also true that the state sector cannot really serve the demand that is there. And that is why often you see various different rigorous selection processes with the state sector universities. And us as the private sector, what we tend to be different in terms of a lot of the state sector universities that we see is the applicability and the closeness to the industry. And for example, a lot of the lecturers we have, they are basically industry experts, and they're not traditional academics. For example, if somebody teaches a marketing module, then that person is a industry seasoned marketer that are practicing at the moment. And it is quite normal, and everybody knows that the academia runs a couple of years behind compared to the industry. So we try to reduce that gap. And also, we've been able to sort of bring the price points down to a point where it is very affordable to everyone. So I hope that kind of answers that question. If Aranda wants to add anything, please go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Cesare, for that point. Mr. Randa?
Yes, thank you, Cesare. While completely agreeing with Mr. Cesare's thoughts, the things that I could sort of think is that I think the internet has made the traditional education obsolete. I think we all agree with that, and I think that's something LIBT really understands, isn't it, Mr. Cesare? I mean, we you will very soon see LIBT introducing platforms which are cutting edge education service delivery. I don't want to divulge it yet because we have a lot of things in plan, and Noah and Kezang and the whole team is working on that. Very exciting stuff. So I think it's about the private schools and universities and institutions will have to understand the dynamics have changed. The earth has moved under our feet, and we have to now change how we deliver content. So it's a really interesting time that we are in, and it's time for us to experiment and learn and change and adapt into new models. And the sooner that somebody creates those platforms and get onto that type of business, the bigger market that they will be able to capture. So I think that's what I wanted to add. Rather than divulging too much about what LIBT has in store in this space already.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rand.
If I may, I will just give a short, really brief insight on this. And we were talking about the changes in workforces, right? And the workforces are looking for people who are skillful. So I think if the private schools and sectors are able to focus on building skills, because today's skill gap, it will become a skill crisis in a very near future. So if we can bridge that gap and provide skills, so that the graduates, the people who've completed the course are ready to enter the workforce. And that's how you can market yourself, and that's how you can fill that gap.
Very good point
Very
indeed. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Tessery.
sorry. Very recently, I'd like to make an announcement as well. Very recently, we became a premier education partner with HubSpot. HubSpot is a leading CRM and a customer service sales support platform. And us being a premier education partner, we're able to basically give enterprise level access to all of our students. And also we work with startups, and we're able to give this platform for startups at a 90% discount. So if you would like to experience enterprise level sales, customer service applications, and you want to learn these things, including the certifications, it is absolutely free of charge. Please drop their email address, and somebody from our team will get in touch with you right away.
Wow, that's a nice announcement, Cesare. Thank you for that. And of course, for the viewers, that's a good opportunity. And what we've learned from this is, shortening the gap, keeping that close and being able to provide more opportunities for those who will be enrolling in the private schools. And we are changing up, so to speak. The earth is moving, Mr. Aranda, right? We are in this motion now, and we have to cope with the changes. So let's see a couple more questions perhaps before we end. This is from Leo Rodriguez Par. What makes the level 7 strategic leadership course of LIBT different from other postgraduate course offered by other schools? Maybe Miss No could help us with this?
Sure. I have a very short and sweet answer for that, straight to the point. And I'm reiterating what Mr. Cesare just shared with us. All the courses are taught by practitioners. There is not just, the lecturers are not just purely academic. Our lecturers are individuals who are in the field, who has the expertise, who can bring the actual scenarios into the learning environment. So that will make what we offer at LIBC different and effective.
Yeah, it has more value, Ms. No, right? It has more value because now you're dealing with not only a lecturer, but somebody who's actually in the practice of this particular skill. Thank you very much. James Leoparda says, is it possible to get my diploma in London? Will LIBT help in securing a visa? That's a nice question. Okay.
I'll take that up. I'll take that up. So most of these diploma programs are virtually delivered. And however, if you do like to study the third year or the final stage of a master's program with a university, we can arrange to do that. And you can certainly go there. And even if you complete a undergraduate program virtually, and you want to attend the graduation with the university, we can definitely facilitate to get the visas as well. But if you are studying in the UK, but do note that the tuition fees are different. It's a different tuition fee if you are studying on campus. But you have the ability to study the programs virtually, just like how we are delivering at the moment, and you can attend the graduation, absolutely.
Wow, okay, there you go. I hope that answers your question. Do we still have a few more questions? Let me see. No more? Okay, very good. Thank you again to our panel for patiently and generously giving us answers for those questions.